What if the real reason Rick became obsessed with time, alternate realities, and the multiverse is because his father was secretly a time traveler? Not just a scientist, not just a genius, an actual traveler moving across timelines long before Rick ever built a portal gun. At first, it sounds crazy, but the deeper you look into Rick and Morty, the more it starts making sense. Rick's intelligence is portrayed as almost unnatural. Even among infinite versions of himself, he stands at the top. The show constantly suggests that Rick didn't just become smart through hard work alone. It feels inherited, almost destined. That raises an important question. Where did that level of knowledge come from in the first place? The answer might be his father. Imagine Rick growing up with a father who always seemed strangely disconnected from normal life. A man who sometimes knew things before they happened. Someone who disappeared for long periods without explanation. Maybe he would mention technologies that didn't exist yet or casually reference events decades before they occurred. As a child, Rick might have thought his father was just eccentric. But over time, he began noticing patterns that didn't make sense. Maybe Rick's father wasn't traveling through space at all. Maybe he was traveling through time. This would explain why Rick became obsessed with understanding reality itself from such a young age. Most scientists study physics because they're curious. Rick studies it like he's trying to solve a mystery that's haunted him his entire life. It's possible his father accidentally exposed him to concepts no ordinary child should ever encounter. Instead of bedtime stories, Rick may have grown up hearing fragments of future wars, collapsing civilizations, and timelines branching endlessly into chaos. That kind of upbringing would completely reshape someone's brain. It would also explain why Rick has such a cynical worldview. Throughout Rick and Morty, Rick constantly insists that nothing matters. Fans usually interpret this as depression or nihilism, but what if he learned it from watching his father manipulate timelines? Imagine realizing as a child that every decision creates alternate realities. Every tragedy can theoretically be undone somewhere else, and every version of yourself exists infinitely across time. That knowledge could destroy a person's sense of meaning before adulthood even begins. The theory becomes even darker when you consider Rick's emotional issues. Rick struggles deeply with attachment. He pushes people away, avoids vulnerability, and treats relationships like temporary distractions. A father who constantly disappeared through time could easily create abandonment trauma. Maybe Rick never knew when his father would return. Maybe sometimes he came back older. Maybe sometimes younger. Maybe sometimes slightly different, carrying memories from timelines nobody else experienced. That would terrify any child. And suddenly, Rick's obsession with control makes perfect sense. Portal technology may not have been his attempt to become powerful. It may have been an attempt to understand his father. Rick didn't just invent interdimensional travel because he was bored. He invented it because he spent his life trying to catch up to someone who already understood reality better than everyone else. There's also an interesting detail hidden in Rick's personality. Despite claiming to hate authority, he acts like someone who has seen too much. He reacts to danger with experience that feels far beyond a single lifetime. Rick often predicts outcomes instantly, understands cosmic threats immediately, and navigates impossible situations with frightening calmness. Fans usually credit his intelligence, but maybe part of that behavior was learned from someone who spent decades jumping through history. His father may have taught him one brutal lesson early: time changes everything.